I stepped up to the hostess with my invitation clutched in my hand, my new navy dress hugging me just right, hair freshly done, nails polished. I was glowing with anticipation, ready to celebrate my parents' 30th wedding anniversary, and then she looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "I'm sorry, ma'am," she said, her voice polite but firm. "Your parents specifically requested you not be on the guest list tonight." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. My name was right there on the cream-colored, gold-embossed invitation, complete with a handwritten note from my mom. "Darling, we can't wait to celebrate this milestone with our children. Dinner at Cheese Laurent, 7 p.m. sharp. Love, Mom and Dad." And yet somehow this perfect night, the one I'd been imagining for months, was slipping through my fingers. "Hi, I'm Rachel Morrison," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm their daughter. I have the invitation right here." The hostess hesitated, flipping through pages and checking her computer. "I'm really sorry," she repeated. "They were very clear. You're not on the list." I froze, staring past her to the grand dining room. Through the archway I saw them. My parents, my sister Melissa with her husband and 2 kids, my brother Connor with his girlfriend, all laughing, clinking glasses, celebrating without me. Every table, every smile, every cheer was a reminder that I had been deliberately excluded from what was supposed to be our family celebration. I'd always been the one who tried to hold the family together, the middle child, the connector, the one who remembered birthdays, organized gatherings, and kept the group chat alive. Melissa was the golden child. Connor, the baby who could do no wrong. And me? Just the one who quietly cared. But tonight my family made it clear I wasn't meant to belong. "Do you want me to call them?" the hostess asked softly. I didn't respond. My eyes locked on my mom's briefly distracted glance toward the entrance. That was all I needed to know. This wasn't a mistake. They had planned this. Every detail, every laugh, every sip of champagne, they'd orchestrated it knowing I'd show up. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding, and walked toward them. Every step felt heavy, every second stretched, the air thick with tension. "Mom, Dad," I said, my voice shaking but steady. "There must be some mistake. I have the invitation you sent me." My dad barely looked up. "Rachel, we talked about this," he said casually. "Talked about what?" I asked, disbelief sharp in my voice. Mom's emerald dress gleamed in the soft restaurant light as she spoke, cold and measured. "We decided to keep this intimate. Just immediate family and a few close friends." I stared. Immediate family. I'm your daughter. The betrayal was brutal, and I felt the sting of every slight, every invisible boundary they'd erected around me. "You invited me just to humiliate me," I said quietly, placing the crystal vase I'd bought them on the table. "Happy anniversary. I hope it was worth it." I turned and walked away, my stomach in knots but not defeated. What they didn't realize was that I wasn't powerless. For the past 3 years, I'd quietly built a network, connections, and skills that would make their little scheme crumble. And tonight would be the beginning of their reckoning. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this, I whispered to myself. And comment below what you would have done in this situation. If you're enjoying this story, give it a like, it really helps the channel. I sat in my car outside Cheese Laurent, my hands still trembling as I replayed every humiliating moment in my mind. My parents, my siblings, everyone around that table smiling, laughing, celebrating, while I was left standing at the door like a stranger. But as the initial shock faded, a new clarity emerged. I wasn't powerless. Far from it. For years, I had been quietly building a life in Portland that they never noticed or never respected. I wasn't just designing marketing materials for small clients. I had connections in the city's social and business scene. I had experience planning events, working with influencers, and managing campaigns that reached thousands. And I had proof. Proof that my parents had deliberately excluded me. Weeks before the anniversary, while helping Dad sort through insurance paperwork, I had stumbled upon the original guest list. My name had been written in, then crossed out, then written in again and crossed out once more. For versions, each time erasing my existence from their perfect evening. I'd photographed the list. I documented everything. I called my best friend Maya, a social media coordinator with an uncanny ability to make stories go viral. "Maya," I said, my voice still tight, "they sent me an invitation just to humiliate me. I need people to know who they really are." Rachel, she said sharply, disbelief cutting through her tone. That's not just cruel. That's sociopathic. But you know what? I think it's time your hometown saw the truth. Next, I called David, a colleague and local blogger. He'd been encouraging me for months to write about city life versus small-town family dynamics. When I explained the situation, he didn't hesitate. Rachel, he said, this isn't just a story about a personal slight. This is about public humiliation, manipulation, and betrayal. People need to hear this. Over the next few days, my parents doubled down, trying to control the narrative. According to Aunt Beverly, they told everyone I had crashed their dinner uninvited, painting me as unstable and desperate for attention. My carefully documented evidence was ready, waiting to expose every lie. Then, an unexpected ally appeared. My cousin Jennifer, who had accidentally let slip at the dinner. That poor girl was clearly invited and then turned away. It was sickening. Neighbors and distant relatives corroborated the pattern of exclusion that had been going on for years. And then the media picked it up. A local weekly social column ran the story, headline screaming, "Local couple's anniversary celebration marred by family exclusion controversy." For the first time, I felt the scales shift. The family that had thought they were controlling the narrative had no idea what was coming. Every lie they had spun, every calculated insult, they were about to face the consequences. I leaned back in my chair, a grim smile spreading across my face. I wasn't doing this out of revenge for revenge's sake. I was doing it to reclaim my dignity, to show them that love and respect couldn't be weaponized just because someone else decided you were less than. And the best part? They had no idea I was just getting started. Within a week, the story had gone from a private humiliation to a public reckoning. My parents' carefully curated image, the perfect couple, the devoted family, was unraveling in real time. Posts on truth about family betrayal were being shared by people who had once admired them, and the comments poured in sympathy, outrage, and validation. Jennifer's photos of the crossed-out guest lists went viral locally, proving that my exclusion was intentional. I even included screenshots of texts, conversations, and details showing the pattern of favoritism and subtle cruelty that had haunted me for years. The response was overwhelming. People were tagging friends, sharing their own family exclusion stories, and sending messages of encouragement. I realized something important. I wasn't alone. So many others had suffered quietly, just as I had. Then the story caught the attention of David's contacts in local media. A regional magazine picked it up as part of a series on family dysfunction, small-town politics, and public humiliation. Suddenly, my parents weren't just being shamed online, they were facing scrutiny in print. The magazine detailed how invitations had been sent only to humiliate, how their daughter had been deliberately crossed off the guest list, and how the perfect family image was a facade. The fallout was swift. My mother was quietly asked to step down from the charity board she'd always been proud of. My father's business relationships, built on reputation and trust, were suddenly under strain. People who had once eagerly accepted his advice or business deals now questioned the man who would publicly humiliate his own child. But the most satisfying part came in moments they could never anticipate. My sister Melissa, who had remained silent at the dinner, finally called. She was crying, voice trembling. "Rachel, I'm so sorry," she said. "I should have said something that night. I should have stood up for you." I listened as she admitted what I had suspected all along. They had poisoned her mind, convincing her that I was dramatic, desperate for attention, and likely to ruin their perfect evening. Her silence wasn't complicity, it was fear. But now the truth was out. "I forgive you for not speaking up," I said calmly. "But part of making this right is being honest publicly. Admit what really happened that night. Tell people the truth." Melissa agreed. She went online and shared her side, admitting that she had known of the plan to humiliate me, and had been told to stay silent. Her confession only amplified the impact of the campaign. Even Connor, the baby of the family, eventually reached out. He admitted he hadn't understood the cruelty of the situation at first, but after seeing the evidence and the public response, he apologized for laughing and for not intervening. Slowly, a sense of closure began to form, not with my parents but with those who mattered, people who actually valued me. Months later, I received a handwritten letter from my grandmother in Florida, my father's mother. Her words were simple but filled with love. Dear Rachel, I am ashamed of how my son treated you. This Christmas, you are invited to spend the holiday with me. Here, family means love, respect, and actually wanting each other around. That letter was the most healing thing I had ever received. It reminded me that belonging wasn't about blood or tradition. It was about respect, love, and genuine connection. My parents? They sent a birthday card 6 months later with no return address, clearly testing the waters. I donated it unopened to charity. For the first time, I truly understood. I didn't need their approval to know I belonged. I belonged with people who genuinely wanted me there, who treated me with respect, and who valued me for who I am. If you've ever been excluded, humiliated, or dismissed by the people who were supposed to love you unconditionally, remember this. You are not alone. And you don't have to accept it. Drop a comment below with where you're watching from. I read every single one. If this story resonates with you, hit subscribe, because I'll be sharing more stories of standing up, reclaiming dignity, and refusing to let others define your worth. Family isn't just about blood. It's about love, respect, and choosing to be around people who actually want you in their lives. And for the first time, I was surrounded by that truth, and it was more powerful than